Book of the day is Woman of Means, Daughters of Faith, number 2 by Tom Lemons. Uh, coming out of coming up out of the baptism waters that day, she felt the powerful current of renewal. Lydia, the book of Lydia. It's a novel. Uh, it has a historical settings, and it's a really good book. Really good book. Woman of Means, the story of Lydia. Number 2. I also have another Woman of Means book that I'll share with you later on. Let me read to you a little bit out of this book. Chapter 1, The Runner. Let's see. Lydia remembered the first time she had drank from the springs at Philippi. It was in the late summer during the 19th year of Tiberius Caesar's reign. With her 2 little children, she had arrived from Thyatira alone, her resources dwindling rapidly. Traffic on the Via Egnatia was heavy that day. She remembered. They had crossed the wide marshy plain from the port of Neapolis, surrounded by creaking overloaded drays. More than once she had snatched little Parmenas from beneath the wheels of one of the carts. By the time they reached the forum at Philippi, she was worn thin with fatigue. Everything she owned was in 2 bundles, slung across her 2 shoulders. The purse hidden beneath her robe and the small pack on Herminia's back. She stood in the small pack on Herminia's back. She stood in the bustling forum, gripping the hands of her children and wondering how she would gather the strength to make inquiries for her uncle's house. When she heard the sound of water splashing on stones at the center of the forum, opposite the temple of Dionysus, was a fountain. Lydia suddenly realized she had nothing to drink since debarking early that morning. She pulled Hermia and Parmenius through the crowds and knelt beside the low stone wall rimming the fountain. She ordered Hermia to hold her little brother's hands and cupped a handful of water to her mouth. She splashed cool water on her face and rubbed it on the back of her neck. She turned to ask Herminia if she wanted a drink and realized her children were gone. Lydia leaped to her feet. She darted at a glance all around the fountain, thinking maybe they had wandered along while she drank, dangling her fingers in the water. Not there. She stared around the forum. Hermia, where are you? A few passerby glanced briefly at her as they went on their way. To her frantic eyes, the whole forum was a blur of moving, unfamiliar shapes. She wheeled around and stared back the way they had come and started back toward the highway, then stopped and looked. Which way to go? How could she guess? Hermia, Parmenius. Her voice sounded high-pitched, brittle. She began dodging through the crowd as a rapid back and forth course. Her path took her across the forum toward the bema. Knots of wealthy-looking men stood about on the steps and on the dais itself. A group of them parted to reveal Hermia and Parmeus sitting with folded hands and rapt faces in front of a bald fat man. He wore a robe pieced together with a haphazard scraps of garish, ill-matched colors, and he grinned at the children as he spoke, touching them now and then with odd twitching gestures. The children's mouths hung open as they watched him. Hermia, I told you to watch your brother. Lydia rushed up, giving the strange man a suspicious look as she gathered the children away from him. You told me to hold his hand, the girl replied. He walked away, and I stayed with him, holding onto his hand. No harm, dear lady. But the fat man turned his grin on Lydia, just old Xerxes telling him a story, just a little story. Lydia. When Lydia arrives in the Roman colony of Philippi on a hot summer day in 26 AD, she is alone and she is afraid, nearly destitute, tending two young children. This widow must find a home and work to save her family in this strange city. Lydia, she could not let the man who had led her to those waters out of her sight. This man who said words that kindled with her hope she thought long buried. Praise for the daughters of Jerusalem. Tom Lemons.